Good evening. A Victorian police officer has been found guilty of a heavy-handed arrest where he tasered a suspect 9 times in less than a minute. The officer claimed he was acting in self-defence, but the magistrate wasn't buying it.
Hello, police.
A wake-up call in Warragul.
Police, get up. You're under arrest for recklessly caused injury.
What?
Yep.
What injury?
Get up.
Just 20 seconds after police busted in,
Hands behind your back now or you get sprayed.
the man was hit.
Oh, actually,
But it's what happens next that has the officer in trouble with the law.
you've entered my home.
This is the first of 9 times.
Can you stop me?
Hands behind your back.
You have my word. I'll get up.
It happened again and again, despite the man's pleas to stop.
Wait.
Eventually, he was cuffed and wrestled to a divisional van. And for the first time in the 5 wild minutes, officers can take a breath.
So turn the shit quick. Once he got sprayed, he started resisting quite aggressively, so
I don't know why he'd do that, to be honest. Why would you resist these days?
It had started as a family violence call 2 years ago. The female victim had told police she was injured by the man asleep in the bedroom. In the aftermath, officers washed blood off their hands, took statements and called paramedics.
The ambulance is here. They'll just be with you in a couple of minutes, all right?
The offender suffered head injuries and heart palpitations.
I'm not going to be violent.
Now he's suing Victoria Police, saying the psychological trauma was far worse. The officer has been convicted of 10 counts of assault, fined $11,000 and suspended without pay. But he won't be jailed. Jacqueline Stanley, 7 News.
A pedestrian has been deliberately mowed down by a car and left for dead in a Mickleham shopping centre car park on Monday night. The 34-year-old was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Police are still hunting the male driver and his grey Mitsubishi Lancer. Detectives are investigating if the driver and the victim are known to each other. The state government has issued a warning about potentially deadly vapes after the discovery of one laced with a powerful anaesthetic. Paul Dowsley has the details. Paul, health authorities are warning this may not be an isolated case.
They have issued a drug alert, Mitch, and there are serious concerns because the dangerous anaesthetic etomidate has been found in a vape sold in Melbourne. It looks like this, and the fear is there could be more circulating. The life-threatening drug can cause rapid, deep sedation and unconsciousness, plus ineffective breathing. The department says it could be in vapes being sold on the black market under names like K-Pods, Space Vapes or Space Oil, which are sometimes falsely promised to be high nicotine, liquid ketamine or even cannabis. The department won't say where in Melbourne the dangerous vape was sold, but, Mitch, it did say the person who inhaled it ended up in hospital.
Paul Dowsley, thank you. Pauline Hanson's explanation of monoculture has lit a fire under the Albanese government, fresh off a deal to pass its tax changes. The Prime Minister has slammed One Nation's vision as nonsense and criticised the opposition for not having one.
One Nation wants an Australia with one culture.
Japan has a monoculture. So what's wrong with Australia have a monoculture?
And what is that monoculture?
We're multiracial, but at the end of the day, we must look at being Australians. And instead of all these different little individual groups who believe in their own cultures.
Slashing migrant numbers, making English language mandatory, restricting the number of mosques, centring on Judeo-Christian values.
Do we really want to see Sharia law? Do we want to see multiple marriages? Do we want to see these gangs getting around in our streets with machetes? That's not the Australian way of life.
Modern Australia is not a monoculture and it never has been.
Inside the Parliament,
this is a pining for a time that has never existed.
Insisting Australia has been multicultural since British settlement.
The First Fleet had people in chains and people were in charge. Had Protestants and Catholics.
Coalition leader Angus Taylor asked several times if he supported a monoculture.
You explain to me what you mean by that. You see, there's all these vague words running around.
The government accusing him of chasing voters who are abandoning the Liberals for One Nation.
This rubbish, playing footsie with the monoculture language being pushed around by the One Nation party.
What do voters think of a monoculture?
What do you mean by that?
Told it's a One Nation policy.
Paulie Hanson, good on you, mate.
As the government claims victory on its central budget bill, the capital gains tax and negative gearing changes set to pass the Senate on Thursday with the Greens backing. In return, the government agreeing to another 8-week inquiry into the NDIS cuts.
We've managed to stop the NDIS bill passing the Parliament this fortnight.
But it's likely it will pass in August once the inquiry's over with coalition support. The tax bill going straight into the Senate and Pauline Hanson going straight for the jugular, using parliamentary privilege to question the timing of Anthony Albanese's sale of his Sydney investment property in 2024 to buy his beachfront home at Copacabana.
I think it's a conflict of interest. I really do. He knew what was coming. He knew the laws are going to be changed.
Mr Albanese's office rejecting that as ridiculous.
And political editor Mark Riley joins us now. Mark, another poll out today has One Nation trailing Labor 51 to 49 after preferences. Does that mean they could win government?
Not yet, Mitch. It's an extraordinary result in itself, but even Pauline Hanson's telling people not to get ahead of themselves here. One Nation's primary vote is at 31% nationally, but it's still largely concentrated in rural and regional areas where it reaches 60% and beyond. But to take government, it needs to win 76 seats, and that means winning seats in the cities where its polling is closer to the middle teens. So even if it holds on to these impressive numbers until the next election, which is a big if, it would still win 50 or so seats, which is a big win, but not enough to form government, Mitch.
And Mark, does One Nation actually have enough candidates to win important seats?
Yeah, that's the great unknown, Mitch. The calibre of its candidates and some of their questionable backgrounds have been an issue in the past when One Nation's run only a couple of dozen candidates, but now it's talking about running someone in every one of the 150 seats. So Pauline Hanson says she's been overwhelmed by swarms of supporters eager to stand, but you can be sure the major parties will be doing their own background checks, so she'll have to enforce a watertight vetting process to avoid a rash of scandals on the campaign trail. Mitch.